Thank you for joining us here. We're talking about modernizing and connecting your intranet with Teams. And I would like to first give my wonderful co-host, Sébastien, the opportunity to introduce himself. Hello, Sébastien.
Hey, everybody. Thanks, Daniel, for the opportunity to co-host with you. It's always a pleasure to share the stage, or the virtual stage, if you'd say. Today, quite excited to be here today. My name is Sébastien. I am the product lead at Whyvalo. We're a digital workplace product suite on top of Microsoft 365 and Teams and SharePoint and all the beautiful tools that are offered in the in M365 toolkit that we have. I am a Microsoft MVP, so I've been working with the Microsoft technologies for way too long now, and super excited to be here today to kind of supercharge intranets with the use of Microsoft Teams.
Thank you very much. So appreciate that. And hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Glenn. I am also a Microsoft MVP, and I work as the practice lead for collaboration at Infoworks. We will be talking a little bit about Infoworks and what we do later on, but I want to make sure we get to all of the details that you came to hear around how we can use Teams in our intranet. So a little bit of housekeeping. One is please use the Q&A functionality within this Teams live event. We'll be moderating that and watching those. We'll try to answer those questions audibly, but if we can't, we'll just type in the answer right there in the chat. If you would like a recording of this webinar, please email webinar@infoworks-tn.com. That's where you got your, that's the email address where you received the invite. And if you need some help on how to understand how to use the Q&A functionality in Teams live events, you can go to that short code there. It's d-g.me/MTQA. It's Microsoft Teams Q&A. So please, we want this to be engaging for you and very informative. So please ask away. So the agenda, we have kind of 4 points here. Talking about what is the current digital workplace? What is it that we have now that we can pull together Teams and SharePoint or other artifacts to make an intranet? We're going to talk about the gaps and opportunities that we have with Teams, and then how can we make that Teams experience awesome for your intranet? And of course, we want you to fall in love with your digital workplace and how you can do that and how we can help do that as well. So I think the real question, the first question here is, Sébastien, right? This first one about the current real experience, right?
Yeah, and I think what is interesting, so at Whyvalo, we speak with tons of customers on a daily basis, and we kind of ask always the same questions. And we get the same answers, which is interesting. We always have that discussion with our customers where we start with, so what is your digital workplace? And you're realizing that the digital workplace is a very beautiful term, a beautiful word that is being used internally in organizations. But you're realizing very quickly that even though a lot of these tools are digital, the experience that the employees are having with these tools is that it's totally disconnected. You have your HR system on one side and your collaboration system on the other. Then you have all of the tools you're using to be effective in your work, like Teams for your chat and your channel messages and your files. And then there's some people are using an intranet as part of their SharePoint. And there's a lot of tools that are all there, but nothing is really connected. So what's the real experience of employees in today's digital workplace? Well, it's not a great experience. It is an experience that sometimes tends to be okay. Sometimes it's absolutely horrible. But what we hear from basically all of our customers is that there's so many tools these days that are available that employees cannot follow these tools. Daniel, do you see something similar with the different organizations you're working with?
I do. All of those things you just mentioned, but in addition to that is how do we really take our current experience now and enhance it? I want it to do, ABC more than it does now out of the box. How do I do that? And to do really, when you're talking about creating and extending teams, a lot of time you run into code. And even if it's SharePoint, for instance, you're trying to extend it, do more with it, you're running into code and you're having to either code it yourself or hire a developer to do it for you. So and along with everything you said, I think that's another point that where we are kind of with that current, the experience people are having is a disjointed experience, which is troublesome, right? When we're trying to just get work done.
Absolutely. Daniel, would you I know you've been working with a lot of customers around bringing them to the cloud or bringing them to the Microsoft 365 suite and everything. Would you want maybe to show everybody right now what is that current experience? What's the current digital workplace experience, just to make sure we're all on the same page
Sure.
around that?
Yeah, sure. Let me pull up. So I've got Teams here, and I'm looking at the research and development channel as part of a team called the Mark 8 project. And if you're using Teams, and I think everybody who signed up for the webinar said they were using Teams in one aspect or another, so you're familiar with this probably, right? Where you have conversations going on in a channel. They are a little bit of thread, right? You can reply to those conversations. You can add documents, pictures and everything along in your channel. I think when we start talking about disconnected is understanding where documents go. When Adele here has uploaded 2 documents as part of this chat, where do those documents go? Well, they go in files, but there's a little bit of understanding of how all that works behind it in SharePoint. When we're talking about an intranet, we want to bring in SharePoint, for instance. If we're using SharePoint site for our intranet, we want to bring that in to our team so that people can consume it. Well, we can do that pretty easily. So I've got the site here, and then I'm going to go and add to the top as a tab. I'm going to pick SharePoint. There. And I'm going to click on any SharePoint site because the first thing you're presented with is only SharePoint pages that are part of this project or part of this Microsoft team. So I'm going to say any SharePoint site, paste my link, and say save. So at this point, I have added my site. So we'll go back here. This is my site. This is a modern communication site. I've added this site to this channel in this team. So I can consume this content. I can get to that information pretty easily. The gap here, though, is number one, I had to add this site manually to this channel. So if you're familiar with how we add content like this in tabs, you do it per channel. So if my team has 20 channels and I want every channel to have a link to the intranet, then I must actually add this tab to every channel, which is very inconvenient. The second thing you might notice is I've lost all navigation control. So if you'll go back to the site, you'll see I have navigation here at the top as mega menu, but when I'm adding it as a tab, Teams conveniently leaves off the navigation. So I really cannot have a true intranet experience here because I can't even navigate between the components. All right, so that's my first point of where we are in our digital workplace. The second I wanted to highlight is the search experience. So when I go to search, and I'm going to search for contracts, when it loads the files for me that were contracts, the key here is to understand these are the files that are in my teams. These are not all the files that are in my tenant, that are in all of my SharePoint pages. This is ones that are in my team. And so it is not a holistic search experience from that standpoint.
Do you also get, in that case here, you saw on that SharePoint page that there was news and everything. Can you search from that search bar straight back to SharePoint? Okay.
No, so, and thank you for bringing that up, Sebastian. That is exactly what I was going to point out next. Is it's not a holistic search experience for files, but it's not also, you're not finding the content that is on pages. We have a lot of content. You bring up news as being one, but other types of pages, we have content as well, department pages that as part of process flows, we can't find them this way. So it obviously from Teams is a communication experience. So we are, chatting with our teams, but we can also do individual chats. We can start a new chat. We have to find who we're looking for. Okay, so we can do type in their name. Let's see if So I want to start a chat with Irvin Sayers. You notice that I had to know his name. If I didn't know his name, then I'm not going to be able to connect with Irvin easily to have a chat with him. I can't search on what building he's in, the department, and his title. Do a narrowing search down like that. But once I do find him, of course, I can have a conversation, share files, share multimedia, all that kind of stuff. But there is that gap of how do I connect with this person if I don't know their name exactly? If they were in a meeting doing a presentation or something like that, how would I reconnect with them if all I remember is things about them and not exactly their name?
And I think there's there's no way to search for that. We've been experiencing with this also here at Valo, where it's really hard to find the right person, especially in larger organizations where there might be thousands of people. I think it can be definitely a challenge for people to get to know who you're working with and how you get to connect with them. That's a very good example right there, Daniel.
Yeah, and the last thing I wanted to mention is the news experience. We can bring individual news items into SharePoint, or I'm sorry, into a channel, but it's not as pretty as we would like for it to be. I think it is not a situation where we've built this beautiful experience on our site, even if we just add it as in a tab here for our news. But when we publish a news, we're not getting the exact type of look and feel for that when we post in a channel. So that's a little bit of a downside. I talked. Last thing I want to talk about as far as demo, I mentioned about we can add it as a tab in a channel. It would be nice if we could add it over here on the left-hand rail. And Microsoft has mentioned they will be bringing the ability to do that sometime next year. We don't have a pinpoint date, but bringing that experience to where you can have access to your intranet over here, but it will only be for your home site. And that's actually a specific term in SharePoint Online. It's the site that you've deemed as the home site for your organization. So you actually can't put like a classic SharePoint site, you can't put over here on the left-hand rail. So there's some gotchas with that one as well. So I think, Seb, if it's okay, I'd like, I know that Valo has recently announced and released, I guess, a new product that kind of is targeting this experience. Would you mind helping us walk through that and showing us what it's all about?
Definitely, it's going to be my pleasure to walk you all through our latest tool that we really believe that comes at a moment where we need more connections, where we need to create or bridge those gaps that Daniel just mentioned. So just before we go into kind of highlighting some of the cool pieces of the product, and then go into a demo and use some of the actually you gave me some really good ideas right there, Daniel. So I took notes. I'm going to see if I can bridge some of the gaps that you mentioned. I'd like to show you a little bit of an introductory video to what Whyvalo just launched, which is called Whyvalo Connect. So I'm going to roll the video and see you right after it.
In a thriving digital workplace, access to your content and multiple apps is vital. These are often stored across different locations, which at times can cause confusion. Imagine a world where all communications, collaboration, and co-innovation happens in one location. Introducing Whyvalo Connect. Whyvalo Connect enables you to focus on the things that really matter. Intranet, pages, business apps, websites, and even custom-built apps designed specifically for your business needs. Whatever it is that you use in your digital workplace, Whyvalo connects them, helping your team to stay informed with everything from internal communications to industry news, helping them to locate and edit files and documents without jumping between multiple sources. Everything is better together, under one roof. It's time to make the connection and bring all your tools together within Microsoft Teams. Build the digital workplace of your dreams.
Awesome. Every single time I hear that video, I cannot have anything more than just like a huge smile on my face right now. I really love it. I hope you also enjoyed it. And what the video was highlighting was really to bring everything together. And one of the areas that we discussed a little bit earlier, Daniel, is that because of that disjointed digital workplace, or even a disconnected experience you have when you want to connect with multiple tools, is, well, you have to leave your productivity environment. And that's really where we believe that Whyvalo brings a ton of value. We want to bring all of these different tools back inside Microsoft Teams to make sure that you're always connected to the most important apps, pages, content that exist for you, and not just for the entire organization, but really meant for you as a user or as someone that is consuming your digital workplace. And it's important to also know that one of the areas that we really believe in is to offer a better solution for communication, or for internal communication. So that's why we're bringing all the internal communications straight inside Microsoft Teams. So all the news, all the pages, all the most important content you would find inside a SharePoint intranet, now it's available as part of Microsoft Teams. It also makes it really easy to bring people together and introduce to each other throughout searching in intelligent search around their profile, skills, past projects, and all these kind of things straight back inside Microsoft Teams. And I don't know if you're like me, even right now, we might all be a little bit stuck at home. We don't necessarily go from one conference room to the other. Maybe sometimes you're going from your desk to the coffee machine and back to your desk. That's what I do. That's my travel every day. But I always have the Microsoft Teams app on my phone, and I'm using it to quickly glance, quickly see what's happening. But now you can even do anything from all the apps, from all the different conversations you might have straight from within Whyvalo Connect. So that's a really, really good use case where everything becomes mobile, straight inside Teams, wherever you are. That's mainly around communication and being up to speed and understanding what's happening in your company. But then afterwards, we believe that there's some gaps where Whyvalo Connect could provide help, could bring the collaboration to its next level. Because we know that everybody works totally differently, and we all use different tools. In our team, even though we're big advocates of Microsoft 365, we have teams within Whyvalo that are using Adobe from a marketing standpoint, or Canva from a design even are using external tools, but all these tools can be brought in back to this. So that's really one of the things that I think is really interesting. It also enables better teamwork when you can find, you can check, you can even modify files, either they are from within Microsoft Teams or anywhere in Microsoft SharePoint. You can actually edit any file directly from Microsoft Teams. This is not just a small thing, and we're going to do a little bit of a demo on that later on, but now you have access from a search capability to everything that is in Microsoft 365 and not just what is inside Teams and all the different channels that you might have created. It is not something that is super hard to deploy, super hard to install. And the reason why is we made it really easy for team owners to add their own version of Valo Connect for their own teams, while we give a ton of IT control and IT capabilities to the admins to also make it happen on the left rail of Microsoft Teams. So it is as easy as a couple of clicks, and then you're ready to go. You will be able to add as many applications inside your navigation, inside your app, to make it super simple. Basically, even if you want to bring some of your custom apps that you might have been building, or even web parts, if you're more in the SharePoint world, you will be able to bring them back to Valo Connect. And I think you all noticed it, but this is all powered by Microsoft Teams and SharePoint. And the reason why we bet on that platform is it's now part of our daily lives, our daily professional lives, where we read, we contribute, we connect with everybody through Microsoft Teams. So we thought, why would we bring the users outside of it? Why wouldn't we use all the capabilities that the platform really offers, from all the IT controls, the IT deployment capabilities, to the governance, the compliance, the life cycle of a team, all of that within one single package that really enables everything. So now let's move on to a couple of scenarios that I want to share with all of you. So Daniel, feel free to stop me, ask any question if there's anybody that has a question on the chat or whatsoever. But
okay,
until then, I'll be pushing on to our demo for now. So the first thing you will notice is that new left-hand icon we have here called Valo Connect. That Valo Connect experience really brings the best of the digital workplace. The first thing that you will see is, I think, one of the scenarios that we've got the most requests for. And Daniel, you were one of the person we talked to, where your customers are asking, they want to see their intranet or their landing page of the intranet as part of Microsoft Teams and be there for everybody and everything. That's exactly what we have done here. So what you can see here is the homepage of my intranet that is hosted directly within Microsoft Teams. It is fully functional, so I can click on any link. I can like news, I can comment, I can do anything. So let's say I want to go here. I want to go to the new benefits. I will be able to find the content right here and say, this is great. So this is great engagement from your users. You're still within Microsoft Teams. You didn't have to go to SharePoint, and you can already collaborate and communicate back with your team. You can do basically whatever you want to do. And you can just come back to the homepage right here and see other content. Just to give you a little bit of a context, this is exactly the same content as I can find here. But as you can see, there's some differences in the UI and in the look to really kind of focus on the stuff that matters when you are within Microsoft Teams. You want to have maybe a bigger, take more space in the screen, but the functionality is exactly the same. So this is, and I'm going to go back here. This is a customized Valo intranet, one of the products we have at Valo, which is an intranet product that really builds a great experience around everything digital workplace, especially for communication experts. But we didn't want to make this just a Valo Intranet thing. If Valo Intranet is your thing, definitely that's going to work flawlessly with Valo Connect. But we wanted to make sure that we can bring the same site that Daniel showed earlier back inside Valo Connect. So here I have your Contoso lending, which is the same site we had earlier, which is a very news-focused, all utilizing out-of-the-box components from SharePoint Online, all of these pages. But yeah, this is in the browser. This is in SharePoint. It's not in Microsoft Teams. So one of the things we managed to do is to allow you to bring any page from SharePoint. Either it's from a customized site, another third party, a Valo site, a single page, a full site, anything. You can bring these back in here. And then you can have the full capabilities again right from here. It really drives, I think, a lot of engagement from your users, because now they're just one click away from the intranet, rather than opening the browser, remembering the URL, figuring out their way to the intranet. Now it's part of Microsoft Teams. But is that a personalized approach? One of the things we really want to push with Valo Connect is the personalization aspect, to bring the content that matters to you. Sometimes the homepage of an intranet is okay from a personalization standpoint, but maybe you want to get the news from your teams, the news from topics you care about, the news from your organization, corporate communications. So that's why we built kind of a specialized page called the My News, where you can get news from different areas around your organization. The first one is all the organization news, the ones that are curated by your organization that they really want you to see. I think that's great that they have their own spot in that page. But then on the right, I do have a series of news that is only targeted to me because I'm located right now in the city of Montreal. So only news from Montreal will be shown there. So it really brings me back to my home. It brings me back to the people and the content that I really care about. Then afterwards, maybe you can bring some market news, some from different sources around the internet, and you want to see it as part of your content in your intranet. It is possible to get your market news right here. Trending news. Not only the latest, but the most clicked news, the news that are being consumed, liked, commented, all of that creates kind of a AI-driven algorithm that allows us to show you only the trending content for you. And on the right here, you can see my team news. The teams that I'm a part of in Microsoft Teams, maybe they have published some news, but we never really see them. They're kind of hidden, but here we bring them back straight for everybody, where you can, from here, automatically go here and like a news because that's something that you really care about. Another area that we want to kind of improve is to allow connecting with people. And one of the ways that we highlight connection with people is through our organization tab right here. In these are the 8 people that are working with me. But as you can imagine, in actual non-demo organization, you're going to get tens or hundreds or even thousands of people you're going to have to look for. Here, you can do a very similar approach to what Daniel did earlier. Go here and search. Let me search for Kate. And now I'm going to find Kate as a consultant. Here, the beauty here, I see a little bit more information. We can see what's her role, what department, our phone number, our email, our location. But here, I had to know the name of Kate to get to Kate. Some of the things we've been enhancing this experience with is, for instance, here, I want to search by department. So I want to find anybody that is in IT. So now I already drill down. So now I have 4 people in IT, and I don't exactly remember who it was, but it feels like Peter would be the right guy to connect with, because I was able to already drill down with this. But I know that the person I'm looking for is actually a software architect. And now when I click on software architect from the Department of IT, now I can find Peter. And from this screen, I can not only call Peter or send Peter an email, but I can actually start a conversation right from here. I say, hey, Peter, I need your help. And automatically, I just created a conversation with Peter from the value added of Valo Connect straight in your organization. Any type of profile properties, any type of information on a user can be utilized as a search component. So I can also just go here and do software and I will find software architect in Peter. So if it's not something that you exactly know what you're looking for, you can actually search for any keyword that might be linked to Peter or to anybody.
That's really slick, and that is so many times better than the experience that I showcased earlier. And then you didn't say it, and maybe you were about to, but I hope people caught it, is when you did that chat, you went off, you actually left Valo Connect, right? Because you were in the chat of Teams native. When you went back to Valo Connect, where did it land you? Exactly the same spot you were in when you left to instigate that chat. So it's not like you have to go back and find where you were and locate that.
Exactly, and that's important for us to bring you back in the context of where you left. That's super important. We don't want you to lose time and redo your search or whatsoever. It's all there. Talking about search, now we talked about people, but let's discuss a little bit about search and content and files. Well, we're bringing the full value of an enterprise search back inside Microsoft Teams. You're going to have the ability from here to go on and search, for example, you were looking for contracts earlier, Daniel, and now I can find tons of different contracts. I can find on different sites. I can find on different teams. I can find maybe as part, I can also filter by, I just want to have PDFs that have contracts in there, or maybe I want to find for only from someone called, I don't know, Yari Kusisto, and now I can find this document right from here. So you will have the ability to not only search for content, but find the right content by filtering that content or by refining that content. You're going to also be able to, let's say you are working with some of your organization. For example, here we have a PowerPoint presentation that is saved inside a SharePoint site. So it's not in Teams at all. It's somewhere in SharePoint. As an end user, I want to click on that PowerPoint presentation and start modifying it straight from here. We don't want to be brought to SharePoint and open like Office Online and start working with it. No, I want to click on this and automatically be linked to that document. So when I click on that PowerPoint presentation, what's going to happen? Wow, that actually opens up natively in here. And this is part of a slide deck that we did a couple of months ago with our partners at Valo when we launched one of our products called Valo Ideas. I can start editing it. If I want to open it in a desktop app, I can. But at least you were brought directly to the file, not downloading the file, not whatsoever. Exactly the same experience you have when you're browsing the Teams folder or the Teams channels when you want to see the content. But here you were able to do it using search. And that search is actually across all types of Teams, which I think is absolutely a great news. You can also bring any third-party apps. In that case, here we have a Power App. So if you want to bring any apps coming from the Power Platform, you can also do it. And all of these different tabs that you see are all configurable to basically, in the end, build that rich navigation that you are kind of in need of when you want to build a great digital workplace. All of these different content are also security trimmed. So when you're a user and you only have access to 2 or 3 of these links, you will not see the ones you're not allowed to. So it creates a very engaging and personalized experience for your users. One example that when I had a discussion with one of our customers was about how can we use this kind of tools to also elevate our users, making sure that they're learning more about the platform, about maybe even your own tools, but at least the Microsoft 365 tools. And we made it fully native to a tool called the Microsoft 365 Learning Pathways. That Learning Pathways gives you the ability to actually search for any tool, any technology that exists in Microsoft 365, for example, Microsoft Teams, and now maybe say, hey, I want to find more information about, I don't know, collaborate in Teams and channels. And automatically, I will be able to see the full-blown capabilities, see videos, see all the instructions, and go from one article to the next one automatically from within this. So you will be able to learn about all of this while keeping in the context of your Microsoft Teams client. So that is, I think, one of the great value add here. The last piece that I wanted to chat about is to bring you inside one of your team, actually. Not only this is great when it's pinned on the left rail, where you can sit as a corporate or global initiative where you can pin and showcase some of the different pages that you want to show, the search center, the My News, the organization tab. But if you go inside a team, and let me go to this team here where I'm in the finance team in the general channel. Well, in the general channel, I can also have Whyvalo Connect. Whyvalo Connect allows me to do a couple of things. You're going to see it's exactly the same thing that is again being shown here. I can do something great, which is to showcase the homepage of a site that is just behind this. So that way we make sure that people actually go and consume the news that you're publishing to your site. You can also search for them. So here you can go in there and maybe search for inclusivity. And now you're going to find the news that we posted a couple of months ago around inclusivity. You'll be also able to find the content. And one of the, I think, most exciting capabilities, especially if you're part of multiple teams and have been using private channels in there, you can actually search for, if I'm searching here for contracts, you're going to find that here, where it's actually located is in finance team internal, this channel right here. So you have access to all the files that are in this team, not just in this channel. So if you want to have a comprehensive look at all your files in your team, this is a ton of times better than what teams offer by default. Finally, you want to find who you're working with or who's a member of this team. You're going to be able to find exactly the same capabilities we had earlier around our people, and you will also be able to bring some more personality to your team and say, hey, meet the team and have all the story about this team. So that's why I wanted to show you on how we can really not bring just communication, but also foster collaboration, bring innovation all together, and bring all the tools in a single interface that we believe is super useful for our users. So I wanted to do a little bit of a showcase before we move on to our next couple of questions around that. Daniel, do you want to add anything here?
No, I think you've covered it pretty well. You showcased how we can overcome all of those challenges. It's a great platform, Teams, and it's a great software in conjunction with SharePoint for Intranet, but there are some obstacles, and this product does. You did a great job showcasing how it overcomes those obstacles.
Awesome. While we're at it, Daniel, I had maybe, and here I want to basically take advantage of the fact that we're having that discussion together to ask you maybe a couple of questions, especially with you that is talking to a lot of customers on a daily basis. You're implementing Whyvalo or SharePoint-based intranets, but what are in today's world? What are the different challenges of implementing these digital workplaces?
Yeah, the digital workplaces plays a really important role, I think, in making sure that people are engaged and with not just with each other, but with their employees. So from the company to the employees, but it really is disjointed right now. When we're implementing we see it and we get the feedback of this can be kind of siloed, when we have our different experiences. So to get HR information available, for example, to users, we have to give our employees a login to a different system or site, that's totally different. To enroll and select healthcare choices, we have to have yet another login. And then I think one of the bigger challenges is connecting our systems. So connecting wherever we're trying to place that software, that third-party software, whether we're trying to connect with SharePoint or Teams, it does could be very difficult, and we might be ending up hiring a developer to connect those things. So when we need a simple app in our intranet, it just takes too much money and time when we're deploying, and that's really kind of the bigger ones, challenges of implementing a digital workplace.
Yeah, I think we're seeing exactly the same ones in different markets. Like, we're talking with markets from all around the world, and these are just common topics. So I think it is what you're saying. It really brings all these challenges. It's definitely like this. But in this case, how can Microsoft Teams help in there? What's its role in the digital workplace? Like, we're seeing it has some good, it has some bad, but how do you position it? How do you frame it in the digital workplace today?
Yeah, so let me take a step back and say what it is not, in that we've been promised that Microsoft Teams would be our digital workplace app, and Microsoft still is promising that. This is where you need to work out of. The place where we can stay plugged in, get our chats, meetings, email, intranet, and more. It does a great job of most of those things. We can connect with our teams and collaborate on files, have a great meeting experience, fantastic meeting experience, right? We can add tabs to a team that takes our employees to different locations. But what if I want that HR system I mentioned up just shortly before this in a tab in all of my existing teams, or just a bunch of them? You're going to have to manually add it to each one of those tabs in each team, or each channel, in each team, for them to, maybe it's the enrollment period for benefits or selecting dependents or something like that. So, and it's not just HR. What if I want the IT help desk form to be on every team, so people don't have to go hunting for that? Those are kind of, Teams does play a good role, but it does, again, still have challenges with fulfilling that digital workplace.
I think Teams in that case, and that's how we approached that problem when we started to envision what Whyvalo Connect would be, is Teams is an amazing foundation, an amazing platform, but I think it needs that extra layer of love that we can give it to really build a solution that is not only usable, that is great, but also lovable for our end users that are basically spending all their time in that. So great point here. And finally, the last one is, well, now that we know about Whyvalo Connect, is how do you see both together play kind of a complete role in the digital workplace? What's Whyvalo Connect and Teams? Why is that so more efficient and enhanced for Microsoft Teams?
Sure. Well, just from your demo, I think we got a great idea as to what that looks like. It really does allow us that single pane of glass experience with our apps. What you said earlier really rings true, in that it's not just IT admins. You were talking about this is for everyone. We can deploy these Connect experiences everywhere, and we don't have to be an IT admin to do it. So I think the things it overcomes with not having to switch back and forth between browsers. We don't have to have multiple tabs or multiple browsers open, to see all the information at once. that really big, and I'm really excited about finding people and engaging with each other after we find them, and then being able to come right back into the experience we were in. That is one of the top things that I love about Valo Connect. I don't have to, as I showed in my demo, I don't have to search for somebody, whereas I have to know their name. I can just know some information about them and find them pretty quickly and start getting engaged. And then last thing I think I will mention here is that Valo Connect really overcomes those issues where we were talking about, number one, we can do any SharePoint page. And this is not just our SharePoint home. This is not just our Valo intranet site. It is any SharePoint site we can add to that navigation within Valo Connect. And then speaking of navigation, the navigation is really customizable in that it fits in the context of your organization, the team, and even down to the user level. So it is not just, in your intranet and SharePoint right now, we are able to create our navigation and do some targeting. It's not great, but do some. But we're well beyond that with Valo Connect being able to do that and much more. So we can do all of that. And just as you showed with that app, we're able to add apps without a developer or without an IT service admin getting involved, adding it to our intranet somehow. We can add it to Valo Connect easily. So I think that's how, if you made me boil it down to just a few bullets, that's what I would say is how Valo Connect overcomes those opportunities within Microsoft Teams.
Awesome. Thanks, Daniel. I think that definitely it's interesting to see your point of view on that and how we can work all together, Valo, Infoworks, but also with the community on how we can bring some of the scenarios that might be missing, and we'll be happy to kind of take the requests in to really bring that a little bit more. Now, why wouldn't you kind of work us through this? Like, now Connect is there, but why would a customer or an organization would consider Infoworks and Valo together to really kind of bring the best of both worlds in their organization?
I hope that everyone on this webinar that knows us knows this to be fact, that Infoworks' strength comes from knowing our customers best. While our consultants carry, yes, a traditional consulting core competencies in their tool belts, they're also targeted, focused, and how to maximize effectiveness within your organization. We've been serving hundreds of clients in the Mid-South region since 1997. We have well over 125 professional, business analysts, project managers, and technical developers across multiple industries. We're 100% employee owned, which really what that means is it drives a high level of service and reduced risk for our clients, because we are vested in your success, because that is a way we succeed. And then we do have a proven track record. We have worked not just in Valo on many types of technologies, including Teams and SharePoint, but with Valo, we have a proven track record of implementing an intranet, whether that is just SharePoint or now utilizing Teams as well. We have a proven track record for doing that. I think I'm highlighting here our technology solutions and how we can help your organization not only implement an intranet, but connect with Teams. But we can also do so much more. We combine deep functionality expertise and industry knowledge to really enable all functions of your organization to work better and to achieve your strategic vision using our extensive management solutions options. Infoworks will also work hard to understand your specific business needs and issues that you're trying to solve, by creating data-driven solutions and delivering better performance, and that's around our analytics solutions. So, Seb, that's all. That's what I wanted to say about Infoworks. But can you talk a little bit about Whyvalo and why people would choose Whyvalo?
Absolutely. Whyvalo has been there. So we started our journey in the intranet and digital workplace back in 2015. But we've been awarded left and right for the last 5 years, from Best Intranet and Extranet Award to Intranet Choice in North America and both in Europe. We're also an ISV, or Independent Software Vendor of the Year, awarded by Microsoft. So not only we have great and cool software, but that's also the community is saying it. We've also been working with customers from all around the world. We have more than 650 customers around the world and over 2 million users that are using the Whyvalo component on a daily basis. We're in 45 different countries, and we have an extremely high customer satisfaction. So even though we were all over the place and we really love to have that number of users, we're still listening to every single user feedback that is coming in to ensure that this lands inside the product. And we want to make sure that this is the product that is built for you. I want to make sure that the product that we are shipping feels like it's yours. So we're very, very understanding, and we're really listening to all of our different customers and partners all across the world. We've been partnering for Infoworks since 2017, I think. We've had tons of different successes together. So I cannot say anything less than Infoworks is doing an amazing job on some of even these customers that are actually being shown on that screen right now.
I appreciate that, Seb, and how we do deliver that experience for you. As we kind of have broken it down into 3 categories of how we deliver Whyvalo: silver, gold, and platinum. Silver being, this is really for those organizations that have a core people who know the technology pretty well. For instance, if we're installing Whyvalo Intranet on your SharePoint, these are people who can build out pages, can create sites, and all of that. So what we would do is, in approximately 10 workdays, yes, that's not a typo, you can have a beautiful intranet that you fall in love with, along with some basic branding and training around how to utilize it and administrate it. Gold is kind of one step up in that we do an information architecture review and implementation, meaning your sites that you want to start off with and the IA, the information architecture that needs to be in those sites, kind of things like categories for news and events and other types. Doing basic branding, user training, and that's in approximately 25 workdays. And I'm saying approximately here because we are pretty flexible in that. Going back to what I said earlier, we've been doing this for well over 20 years and building a great reputation. We're not going to, charge you for what we don't do. So these are approximate timelines based upon our deployments that we've done in the past. And then finally, platinum. We will do a discovery and implementation of additional sites, and that really is working with your department leads, your organization leads to understand what they need to exist and the functionality on those pages and on those sites, and deploy it for them. Content creation, helping you create content and put it on your sites. Plan your intranet launch with communications for your employees. Do some change management with any kind of new implementation. You're going to have change, so working with you through the change management, and then of course everything that's included in gold. And that, again, it's approximately 45 work days. So what I wanted to point out there is we're not talking about a 5-6 month project, which frankly, a lot of people have experienced when they roll out an intranet. That's not what we're talking about. We can get you up and running very quickly if you have that expertise in-house. But if you don't, we can still be there for you and give you an intranet that will be awesome in approximately a month if you go with the gold package. So if you have any questions about any of those packages or anything, you can throw that question in the chat, and I'd love to talk to you about that. I want to really thank everyone for being here, and the contact information will be up on the screen, so you can contact us in various different ways. Phone, that is in the US, so it's +1 615, and then via email, Twitter, and Facebook. And then if you want recording of this webinar, please respond back to that email that you received that had the invite on it. That was webinar@infoworks-tn.com. I do want to just pause and make sure everybody's questions have been answered, so we're going to work through those. But I do want to say thank you very much, Sébastien, for joining me today and showcasing not just we showed you a lot of Valo Connect, and that because we believe it's an awesome product, but showcasing how we can do things in teams as well. But Sébastien, I really appreciate your time and your expertise in this. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Daniel, for the opportunity. My pleasure, and I'll be more than happy to connect with all of you, either through the social channels or through Daniel for any further inquiries here.
Yeah, thank you for that. So we'll just hang on for just a moment or two to see if anybody has any questions in the Q&A, but we'll go ahead and say goodbye for now. Thank you, everybody.
Cheers. Thank you, everybody.